All right, we are live back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I got Richie today filling in. Rich, how we doing, man?
Hey, Duke, doing good, man. It was a little warm today in the good old Buckeye State. How about you in the Hoosier State?
Yeah, it was good. We had the sun out today. Also, the favorite time of the year. I know Carter's favorite time of the year, the um, daylight savings time coming up. But it's been a pretty good week coming thus far. The spring forward.
Yeah, we're not looking forward to it at our house for other reasons, but hey, we're getting closer and closer to spring, man. Warm weather, shirts, t-shirts. Hey, I'm all or t-shirts and shorts. I'm all ready. I'm all about it.
I'm back.
But
My camera cut out for a second.
you're like frozen, Duke.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you're still frozen.
Uh-oh.
Duke, stop.
Yeah, so hopefully I get unfrozen. But anyway, rolling on this fine Tuesday, we got some stuff on social media that we want to get rolling here. The most games coached as AP number 1. That's what we got. That's what we got rolling up today. I'm not sure if we got a graphic or not, but hopefully I'm not still frozen.
You are. Nope, I can see that graphic. Oh my god, I killed this dog. No, stop with the ball. Not really. I'm not going to say I'm not going to kill my dog, but he's being bad. How about that? 98 for the GOAT.
Yeah, Saban, 88-10. Bobby Bowden, 40-5. Woody Hayes, 40-4. Kirby is 33-2. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Kirby's 2 losses are probably to Nick Saban.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That makes the most sense because he never really beat him in the regular season.
So I would Woody Hayes, ran the Big Ten. Him and Bo Schembechler ran the Big Ten for years. But Bobby Bowden is the interesting one to me on this graphic. I didn't realize that he was 40-5.
I didn't know that either. Something new I learned today.
Are Hall of Fame coaches. There's no debate when it comes to Kirby. I think he needs a little bit more body of work, but I mean, 2 national championships. That puts you in a league of your own.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not easy to win an Natty, especially if you're coming out of the SEC. You got a target on your back, and you're always the standard was Bama. Now the standard's Georgia, and I feel like Kirby could surpass Saban. Give it a couple. Give it about 6-7 years. He could surpass Saban, Duke.
Yeah, but I hate to bring this up, but that guy at Ohio State, Ryan Day, if he decides to stick it out, he could. So I think that Ryan Day has a good shot. He's in a good position going forward. But if we turn the tables to another subject on the internet, Rick Pitino, 5 conference championships at 5 different schools.
Wow.
Because I don't know if I sent the graphic on that one or not, but yeah. So Boston U, Kentucky, Louisville, Iona, and St. John's.
The Boston Terriers. I didn't know he coached there.
Yeah, I believe that was his first job That was Pitino's first job, and then he went to Providence.
Sorry about that, folks. We're having a little minor technical difficulties here. But yeah, Pitino started Boston, went to Kentucky. I didn't know he went to Kentucky. Then he went to Louisville, which I knew that. He always has success with Louisville, Iona, and now St. John's. I think that is something to be said. Winning 5 different conference titles at 5 different schools. I don't know who else could have done it. I wonder how many conference titles Bobby Knight won.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, you're back? Okay.
I didn't know if that was my internet.
It might be because you were frozen and I wasn't hearing anything.
Yeah, I left and came back, but
you're not on the screen though, Duke.
You can't see me?
No.
Hold on.
You want a football, honey? Here. Play with that.
Yeah, so that's I guess if you can hear me, Rich.
I can hear you. I just can't see you, Duke.
Since Dave's here, Dave says he was a cheater. Well, I guess now in the world of NIL was Pitino a cheater? I don't know if since Dave's in the chat, Dave, can you see me on the screen? But maybe on the YouTube side of things, they might be able to.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's all that matters. No.
He says no.
Well, finish this Pitino thing, and I'm going to back completely out and come back in, Rich.
Okay. Iona. Let's see where.
Can you hear me, Rich?
I can hear you, Duke.
You still can't see me?
Still can't see you.
Awesome. But I guess we'll just keep it running. But yeah, Pitino, a heck of a run. That's kind of where we're at. I think he makes a case as that's where we're at. So hold on 1 second. I'm going to try something here. But what is it next? Yes, the Cooper DeJean and folks are having a spectacular summer or winter, but let me see if I can get something piped up here. But yeah, Rich, Cooper DeJean and a lot of the fellers had the big had a big off season, so quick, but yeah, Cooper DeJean and those guys are balling out right now. So I think Carter might have a graphic. It's really strange on how this is working. Yes, Cooper DeJean, Cooper Flagg, Jack Sawyer. A lot of fellas having a big time impact.
Oh man,
But
that is funny.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that. Rolling. But yeah, so that is where we're at. But Rich, give me like 30 seconds and let me restart my computer if you want to continue on the show notes. But I think that's the issue I have.
Okay.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right, no problem. Nick Chubb leaving Cleveland. Could that be a mistake for Nick Chubb? Personally, I don't think it is. I think Chubb needs to restart somewhere else. He is as it says here, he is Cleveland football. He doesn't care about the injuries, doesn't care about age, money. Personally,
how we doing, Richie?
Oh, good. I was just getting on the next topic with Chubber.
Yep. I'll hop in and try to help out. I got Carson here, so we'll see how it goes.
That's cool. No worries.
Yeah, I mean, with Nick Chubb, I think the big thing is I think it's a mistake for Cleveland to let him go. I don't think it's a mistake for him to leave.
Right. I think it would be for them because it's going to reset everything as far as getting the team ready for the season. I mean, it's just a shitstorm.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. Like, I think what Nick Chubb means to the city of Cleveland is so much more than money and all that stuff. Like, he just embodies what Cleveland sports is. And like, he's gotten a bad deal. Like, he was 2-3 years ago, he was the best running back in football. I don't care what anybody tells you, Derrick Henry, he was the best running back in football.
He was. I agree.
Deals with another massive knee injury to the same knee he had reconstructed at Georgia. I don't think anybody in Cleveland expects him to be that guy again, but the fan base loves him. I mean, like, trading Myles Garrett is one thing, and Myles Garrett is as beloved as any player in Cleveland. But I think Nick Chubb, letting him walk without even paying him, like, dude, he's not going to demand $14 million like Saquon Barkley. Like, you could probably get him for 8 to 10. And yeah, you might be overpaying for what his production is going to be. But my God, with the bullshit you trot out there every Sunday, give us one. Like, just give us one guy that stays in Cleveland his whole career that's not an offensive lineman named Joe Thomas.
I would agree. I mean, he does embolden that Cleveland mentality with that grit, that hard work, that determination. I mean, I would say he's kind of like this generation. I would say this generation. I would say he's kind of has that feel of like Jim Brown, man. Like how Jim Brown used to play in the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, he was the closest thing the Browns have had to Jim Brown since Jim Brown. And, I mean, he embodied the attitude. He's like one of those guys that you have to love. Like, he's quiet. He doesn't talk. He's not flashy. He goes out there. He does his job. Hardly ever even cracks a smile, honestly. But he's just one of those guys. And, like, you're not going to get anything in return for him. Just let him finish his career here. Like, he's not going to be the same guy. We know that. But we're going to suck for the next 2 to 3 years, most likely anyways. And I don't think he's itching to go out and reestablish himself at another franchise to chase a ring. I don't think he really – I mean, I'm sure he wants to win and wants to win championships and all that stuff, but I don't know It's not the same as Myles Garrett, where Myles Garrett is at the top of the game right now. Like, he is the best defensive player in football right now.
Right.
He
I
wants
agree.
to go put that to use. Nick Chubb is coming back from another massive injury, probably never going to be an every down back again. Going to just be a guy that you can count on for hopefully 60% of the snaps each game. And if that's the case, just pay him and let him do it for the next 2-3 years. Let him retire a Brown. Get him in the Ring of Honor. Like, he's probably not a Hall of Famer anymore because of the injuries and everything that happened. Like, he was pushing Hall of Fame status for a while, but he's not going to have the numbers now, which sucks because he absolutely was talented enough and was on trajectory to be a Hall of Fame running back. But it's just I don't think it's possible anymore.
I think out of that running back class from that draft, I think it was the 2020 draft. Was it? What year was that? No, that was 2019.
No, it couldn't have been 2020. It had to have been 18, 17 or 18.
Let me look here. Because Ronald Jones from Tampa was in the same draft class.
Okay. And Sony Michel, because they both came out the same year from Georgia.
Yep, it was 2018. Yep.
Yeah. But
All right,
you're back and you're good to go.
yes, I can see myself on YouTube. I had to completely restart the computer. It's just unbelievable the amount of money you pay for technology and it just doesn't function.
Well, that was me last night. I have a $2,000 laptop and it just decided, no, Windows doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I
think they push a button. I think they push a button and it's like, okay, let's do this. Just to fuck with people.
Yep, for sure. But I will let you guys continue the show. I just wanted to step in and help Richie out for a second. Carson here is itching to be loud, so I'll let him get back to it. But yeah, Nick Chubb, I don't want him to leave Cleveland. I don't want Myles Garrett to leave Cleveland either, but if he does, at least we'll get a king's ransom for it.
Let's hope. Hopefully he goes to Tampa.
Oh yeah. So next thing we got rolling through is the Devontae Adams possibly.
He was cut. They said he was cut.
Wow. Devontae Adams getting cut. That is. I just can't believe.
Duke, I'm not surprised.
Well, it's to me the Aaron Rodgers thing and the New York Jets. I don't want to hear a damn thing about the Jets anymore.
I don't either.
I'm doing anything.
I agree with you. Because that's all you heard for the last 2 years was the Jets, and they weren't winning. They weren't doing anything.
Right. And Aaron Rodgers went out and dictated all these terms, got all these guys, was hurt, and it just didn't work. So whether the Jets feel like they can do something in the draft, I don't think whatever they do in the draft, they will completely. I think the Jets are the worst ran franchise. I think the top 5 worst ran franchises are the Jets, the Browns,
Giants.
I think the Titans the Giants and the Titans because they fired Mike Vrabel.
Oh yeah, and that GM traded AJ Brown too. Don't forget.
Yes. So I think it's not a good time in the NFL when the Jets, Giants, and Cowboys are not relevant.
And the Washington Sentinels are relevant.
Yes. They just got
the Sentinels. I'll just watch the replacements the other night. The Commanders, yeah. They just got Debo.
And Dave's here brings up the Lions. Yeah, but the Lions went out and got the Spielmans, and they're letting the football people make the football decisions at this point.
Right.
So I think the Lions are trending. They're trending in a better direction than the Jets and the Giants.
By far.
I I don't get that. Joe Long, you need a QB to win. Yes, 100%. It's one of those things that I just cannot believe where in the NFL, well, I blame ESPN because the top 5 teams that ESPN talks about that everyone wants to talk about: Jets, Giants, Patriots, Eagles, Cowboys. Those are the 5. There is nobody else. You don't see Pittsburgh getting that run. You don't see Cleveland getting that run. You don't see Baltimore getting that run. It's just, they talk about the Jets. Everybody wants to talk about the damn New York Jets. I don't get it. I don't care.
I don't care either. It's like, what the hell have they done in the last 15 years? If that, not a damn thing, Duke.
Yeah, they have not done anything relevant.
They drafted the MILF Hunter, who I knew was going to suck. They go out and get Rodgers. He's a shell of himself. He pops his ACL first play of that Monday night game, and they're scrambling around trying to salvage that the 2023 season. This year, luckily, Rodgers was playing, but same result. A shit year, and look where they're picking. Top 10.
Oh yeah, and the bad thing is that if you pick in the top 10 for years upon years upon years, you would think you would be good eventually.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, getting all that talent in the top 10, picking top 10.
But I mean, if you go back and look at the list of guys that they've drafted, it's just unbelievable. The amount of guys that have not worked out.
Yeah. Let's see here. 2024.
I was looking for the college football tab on ESPN, and for some reason they just don't have a college football tab.
You got to search for it. So they drafted an offensive tackle last year, Olu Feng Shui.
Yeah.
Ashanu.
Yeah.
And in 2023, I think Mekhi Becton was on the Eagles and he got a Super Bowl ring.
So let's put this in perspective. They're quarterbacks that they've drafted. Sam Darnold didn't work out. Mark Sanchez, do you consider that working out? I don't. I mean, he took them to 2 AFC title games, but they had Darrelle Revis, Bart Scott. They had an elite defense.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, the really last good quarterback they had was Chad Pennington that I can remember.
Yeah, but they shipped Pennington to Miami, and Chad Pennington goes to Miami and wins the damn division. And they traded Pennington to get Brett Favre.
And Brett Favre didn't do anything. And they got rid of him, and he went to Minnesota.
I mean, at least he took them to the playoffs, but and don't think for a second that you can let the New York Giants off the hook either with Joe Shane. I don't pay my quarterback $40 million to hand the ball off. Well, it worked out pretty damn good in Philadelphia, even though I thought their locker room was a very toxic place. But
yeah, especially with the year Saquon had. Well, I'm surprised he didn't get the MVP, which he should have.
And look at where it's gone since you've had Eli Manning's retired. It's been Sam Darnold, or not Sam Darnold. It was Daniel Jones. It's Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor. Look at who else has taken snaps.
Drew Lock.
Just, I mean, they drafted Saquon Barkley, but he was going to be their guy.
Yeah, I thought he would probably go down as one of the best giant tailbacks. And one of the best, he still is on track to become one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
Shine just screwed the pooch on that one. And we all saw it on TV.
Oh, yeah. And Dave's here makes a good point. Trade down, get your line in order, then get a quarterback. I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with either. You got to keep that quarterback upright. You got to get those holes open for your tailbacks to get through. I mean, that's what Tampa did in the 2020 draft with getting Wirfs out of Iowa. Remember that draft in 2020?
Yeah.
There was like 4 big tackles teams went with. The Giants got Andrew Thomas. The Browns got Jedrick Willis. And the Jets got Mekhi Becton. Wirfs is the only tackle that's still with that team, is the team that drafted him. And he's one of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. I mean, I am not playing homer here. It's just straight facts. I mean, when they brought Brady in Tampa in 2020, I'm like, I just hope they draft a tackle to keep his ass upright.
That's all you got to do, because as long as you can keep him upright, they can't touch him in the NFL.
No.
So it just screams mismanagement to me. The Jets are mismanaged. The Giants are mismanaged. And hell, it's worked out for the Eagles. Just draft the best Georgia defender.
I mean, yeah, half that defense is Georgia players.
So you can't argue with the success the Eagles have had, and they were ready to fire Sirianni. I mean, I wasn't leading the charge on that, but I was kind of looking like I'll follow him, because I mean the Eagles were kind of for a little bit during the season spiraling out of control, and then they went and won 11 games in a row. So I agree with my guy Steve on TikTok here. Philly has the best shot of repeating. They have a good shot of repeating.
Yes, they do.
And while we're up against it here, and we'll change gears a little bit, we'll get a word from our partner if we can get Carter to punch that up for us.
I've been watching the show for a while. If you're like me, that you love a good nicotine pouch. So that's why we're super excited to offer our first ever promotion here on the show. ALP pouches, ALP pouches, the new standard in nicotine pouches. A better time with ALP pouches. A better time isn't just a tagline, it's a promise. We love nicotine pouches, and we're here to share that love. Better products, better experiences, and a genuine commitment to a better world. That's why a portion of every sale goes to real causes, not political players. Simple, honest, and yes, better. Best part about ALP pouches is you get more pouches in every tin. That's right, you get 20 pouches per tin as opposed to the regular 15. Also, tins come in 3 different strengths from 3, 6, and 9 milligrams, so you can pick your strength, and amazing flavors. All the pouches come with enhanced moisture, so no more dry pouches chafing your lips or giving you cuts and scratches on your inner lips. They come in all sorts of great flavors, all your typical flavors, or try my favorite, the refreshing chill or the tropical fruit in the 9 milligram. ALP isn't just better, ALP is the new standard. Created by real users, not suits in a boardroom. We've made the product they never could. So go over to alppouch.com/Duke Show. That's ALPPOUCH.com/Duke Show to get 10% off your first purchase of America's newest nicotine pouch standard.
All right, Richie's not back yet, but we're out of mute land, and I'll take this time. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. We got Joe, we got Dave, we got a lot of people in the chat tonight. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're trying to blow this thing up as much as we can. It's just one of those things that we're trying to add some things to the show, and we need your help. And I think some of the things that we have down the line here will it'll be all for the fans. It'll benefit the folks a lot. So that's one thing that we're trying to do. And then something off the a little bit off the beaten path that we'll wait on Richie to get into the ACC thing. But one thing that I would that me and Richie have discussed was about the members of the College Football Playoff Committee. It was announced today that Mark D'Antonio is going to be joining the playoff committee. Middle Tennessee's athletic director, Chris Massario, going to be joining the playoff committee. I think Mark D'Antonio is a good fit for the playoff committee, and it brings football guys back in. That's what we need to do as far as helping it. It's just something that I think the CFP committee needs, that somebody that understands the game. And Chris Massario, the Middle Tennessee athletic director, was he was a All-American tight end at Ole Miss. So that's going to be your I don't know, your SEC bias. So I mean, he played at Ole Miss, so we'll see where that goes. And then D'Antonio will be good, but he hated well, I mean, Michigan State and Notre Dame were rivals, guys. So that's just part of the thing. And then also on another note, while we got it rolling here, Hugh Freeze was diagnosed with prostate cancer. You never want to see that, especially to somebody at all. Cancer is a terrible thing. Hopefully Coach Freeze can make it through it. A lot of people say a lot of things about him, and it's somebody that I think that deserves a second chance. And it's one thing that it's a tough situation, and hopefully he can get through and coach the season. And first of all, you want him to have his health more than anything. I would say football is a secondary thing, and then also that would probably that may explain why he was having so many gastro issues when he was having to make that trip to Kentucky and some of the things like that. So we kind of did that. We poked fun at that a little bit. And then over on also live on TikTok, it is the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. If you want to come on over from TikTok to YouTube, it's just the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith on YouTube. But yeah, Hugh Freeze battling that. It's not something you want to deal with at all. In another side note, there was a lot of grumblings that North Carolina was going to be the Hard Knocks team, and then all of a sudden that got shut down. I'm sure Belichick looked at it and said, I do not want to be a part of this. I don't want cameras everywhere. And quite frankly, would it have been a great chance to monetize it and peel back the curtain? Yeah, but if you're Bill Belichick, I don't think we want to do that. That's just how Belichick is. And then another side note is Texas has they're going to raise their ticket prices. Shocker. And the reasoning for that is they need more money. Oh yeah. So Dave's here. Dave actually works in that field, so he's got a little bit of insight in that. So yeah, but Texas is raising their ticket prices. I don't know. It's it's all Googled. Oh man, Dave, that's an interesting perspective. But Texas raising ticket prices. I had the stats up the other day about the House versus NCAA segment. Richie's getting ready. Just give me a thumbs up, Rich, when you're ready to go. I had the stats in there, and this is a good time. Rich, welcome back, man.
Sorry about that, everybody. Had to tend to some things on the homestead with the family. So right now we're good. So we'll see.
All good. I was just getting ready to jump into the House versus NCAA settlement. I was trying to think if I had those numbers or not. If I had them real quick. Let me see. I believe I thought I sent them to the group chat, but I guess I didn't. But the numbers were well over 343 institutions have opted out of being part of whatever they're trying to do as far as the House settlement. There is, I believe, 108,000 athletes suing for back pay. There's over 350 different lawsuits. Something that was interesting, the boys at MPW Digital pointed this story out, and this is also for the hold on real quick. Let me get this. Yes, Joseph, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in the last segment here. We're definitely going to talk about that because I have my own opinions on that, and I think that there was a lot of disagreements there. It's on the thumbnail, but we're going to get there. I'll finish this point and then we'll get to the back segment here. But with all those things going on, but the boys at MPW Digital, Chase Parham and Neil McCready pointed this story out. So I'm not sure how the golf calendar works for NCAA golf. Well, back when we started talking about this, I said, I think it was at the end of the year around December when a lot of this talk started to heat up. I said, hey, some of these universities are informing athletes they don't have spots, right?
Right.
Well, there was a female golfer. Her name was Holly McLean. And the only reason I remember that because I think that was the guy's wife on Die Hard. They told us, this is all on the internet, and I'm not necessarily stealing the story, but it's on the internet. I thought it was interesting to share with our audience that she had participated in one of the final events they had like some, I believe, a charity golf outing or something like that. And so she competed in it, and then she had to transfer because Oklahoma, before the start of the spring semester, informed her they didn't have a scholarship for her. So she had to go find a spot, right? Well, so she transfers to go to USF, gets a letter in the mail, she's ineligible. Because they're counting her playing in that outing at Oklahoma as starting her athletic or her academic calendar at Oklahoma, so it deemed her ineligible.
Well, ain't that a crock of shit?
I just, everybody wants to push for this break off and all that stuff. I'm telling you, it's going to be 25, 30 teams in it. And then also, I was told by somebody that was a source in the TV world that if they break off and do this, they are a direct competitor of the NFL.
Oh, yeah, 25 to 30 teams? Of course, Duke. It all makes sense. I was literally thinking, I'm like, they're going to be competing with the NFL next.
Mm-hmm. And you completely killed the sport. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of the member institutions heard that and said, no, we want no part of that. So, but the big thing is that the ACC and Florida State, get the settlement done. The grant of rights deal has a number on it. It's going to be more competitive for the institutions bringing in the money. They're gonna stick with it. I don't know how much this is going to help Florida State. I think that it's one of those that says that the other two conferences didn't want you. That's all I'm saying is I don't think the SEC wanted Florida State. I don't think they provide any real value. To the ACC, they're super valuable because they're a big TV get, and ESPN likes that.
Right. Yep.
And the back channeling from what I'm taking out of this is that you see that ND right there, ESPN loves them some Notre Dame. So as much as they can keep all these institutions happy, SMU, deep pockets, maybe Bill O'Brien could make Boston College good. Cal hasn't been relevant in forever, but Georgia Tech, Brent Key, them building something, Jeff Brom at Louisville. Maybe the ACC can maybe turn around some of these institutions, but the problem they're having is raising NIL funds.
And that all comes down to dollars and cents. And if they can't raise it, it's going to be tough to try and get talent in there.
I think that's why you've seen a distinct advantage between the Big Ten and the SEC for basketball. So I think Florida State is I'm not going to call them irrelevant, but Mike Norvell better figure it out because they want a piece of that. So, but I think it's going to reward the higher grossing programs throughout the university. So, or throughout the conference. But I think that I'm not so sure on. I don't know if there's a number exactly on that, but I think Notre Dame wants to keep that partnership open. And the institution that I think is going to have the conference that I think is going to have the biggest issue is going to be the Big 12 going forward because ESPN has no vested interest in them.
No.
So I think the Big 12, somebody's got to keep them afloat. I think ESPN will do whatever it takes to keep the ACC alive.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping Florida State and Clemson in the ACC was a huge financial get for ESPN. So I think that's something that they're looking at. But we'll head into the last segment here. Everybody watching out there on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Plenty of people in the chat tonight. Hit the like and subscribe button and help us blow this up. So that is something that we're trying to do. A couple comments here, and then we'll get into the Chad Bowden stuff. It's $165 million for full members. I have no idea how much Indy's getting. I think if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, and Notre Dame wouldn't do it.
Yep, you got that right.
For the OCC, Orange County Choppers? I know what you're trying to say there, Dave. ACC. I don't know if it's that they don't have room. I think one of the reasons the Big Ten, like who's not getting full shares of the Big Ten? Is it Oregon and Washington? Two out of the four teams they added are not getting full shares. So yeah. I think the Big Ten would have a lot of explaining to do to the Northwesterns, to the Nebraskas, to all the other member institutions, because the money doesn't go up when you add, it just gets whacked up more. So yep. I'll be interested to see what Fox does on this whole deal. Because if I am any of the major schools in the Big Ten and the TV deal comes up, big noon kickoff, go kick rocks, go cover the Big 12. Good luck with that. Let me know how that works out for you. Yep. Because if Dion leaves Colorado, ain't nobody pulling up to see Mike Gundy and the mullet in Iowa State. Love Matt Campbell to death, but Stark County guy, I know he's your guy, but I'm just sorry. In no disrespect, I know Carter has a fond loving for for Iowa State, but I'm just telling you, Ames, Iowa, yikes. Lubbock, Texas, yikes. A lot of non-starter cities in the Big 12. Stillwater, not there. But so we'll get to this Chad Bowden thing. Got the Notre Dame fan base in a stir. This is something I think that it's going to be. How do I want to say this? At certain junctures, you should pick your words wisely. I do know from some people that live out on the West Coast. Chad Bowden recently said Lincoln Riley is the best recruiting coach he's ever been around. Riley does both parts, recruiting and including evaluation, throwing. I just think he's throwing shade there.
Why do you think he's throwing shade?
I don't know if people remember, but that guy that's the coach of the Raiders, Pete Carroll, pretty damn good at USC. What, he win 97 games in 8 years?
Yeah, he was pretty good. A couple natties, couple Heisman winners.
Yeah, a couple natties, couple Heisman winners. So I would say in an 8-year period, I don't know if it gets any better than that. From what I have heard, just, because I'm nobody, I have no sources at all. Yeah, go ahead. If Carter's gonna, I believe, hop on here in a second, but I just feel like that. What up, man?
What up, Carter?
Nothing much. I had to get in. I got a couple minutes here, and I saw you guys were talking about this, and this is, this is a topic I have some opinions on. So, wanted to jump in real quick. First of all, just threw an out pouch in. Go get out pouches. They're the best. Out pouch / Duke Show. Check it out. But Chad, I believe it's Bowden, right? Chad Bowden, something like that. Whatever. Dude, do you know his history? Do you know how he got his start and everything that he's done?
No.
Okay. Let me just tell you. Dude was a bum. Absolute bum of a player at Cincinnati. Gets offered an opportunity to be a fucking scrub nothing guy at Cincinnati by Marcus Freeman and Luke Fickell. So he gets his start at Cincinnati with Fickell. Works in the player evaluation department. Works in recruiting, all that. And when Marcus gets the job at Notre Dame, this guy is, he's ready for a full-time job, but he's not earned the Mark Pantoni level job yet. And Marcus Freeman sees something in him, takes him to South Bend, gives him his start in real big-time coaching. And then the dude leaves, which, maybe they butted heads. They didn't agree on recruiting strategies, whatever it was. Dude leaves, goes to the rival, and I get it. I believe he's from California. He's a Cali guy, all that, going home, blah, blah, blah. But, dude, have just a little bit of grace when you leave. Don't go up there and talk shit. And which is exactly what he did. He knew what he was saying. I don't care if whatever. Lincoln Riley is the best recruiter I've ever been around. He understands both sides of recruiting, evaluation and the other side of recruiting, unlike any other head coach I've ever been around. Dude, you just spent 3 years building a national championship roster at Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman, who was the first person to ever give you a real job, and you're going to turn around and talk shit on him? It's bitch energy to me. I don't like it. I don't think it should be tolerated. And if I'm Notre Dame, I'm doing everything I can to badmouth the fuck out of him.
Here's where I stand on this. And now knowing that, I'm not shocked. But realistically, what he did, essentially, Everybody thinks that USC will not move on from Lincoln Riley. They fired Lane Kiffin on the tarmac.
Lane Kiffin also. Yeah.
But if you go back and look, he ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw at Corvallis that year.
Yeah.
And plus he was under sanctions too, because that was after Pete Carroll left.
I understand.
And how can you say that Lincoln Riley's the best recruiting coach you've been around when you go drive down the street to Modern Day, where they played a high school football game? I believe it's them and John Bosco at what's the stadium in LA? What's the name of the SoFi? They played a high school football game in downtown LA in SoFi, and you have Chris Henry Jr. and the other kid that's number 1 and number 2, and you can't even get them on for a visit. And they're right in your backyard. Best recruiter ever. You just lost Julian Lewis to Deion Sanders, who doesn't go out, and the only thing he did was FaceTime him. He's the best recruiter. Have you not seen what USC has put on the field? I mean,
500
what are we
every
talking
year.
about? You're losing to Minnesota. I get it. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, but they made it to the big game. USC hasn't had a popcorn fart at a major bowl in how long? And not to mention Willie Taggart or Willie Fritz at Tulane beat you in your last big bowl game. Willie Fritz and the no-name Tulane Green Wave. Are you kidding me? And Julian Sand was also a Southern California kid in the backyard. Where did he end up going? He went to Alabama. Now he's at Ohio State. So if I'm just trying to draw the conclusions on how this guy's the best recruiter ever. Yeah, he was so good. They were so good. They went out and got Bear Alexander for 4 games. That worked out real well. Where's Bear Alexander now? On his 9th school in 9 years.
Yeah, it just and eliminated all the factual things you just said. Even if it was factual, even if Lincoln Riley was the greatest recruiter of all time, do you know how easy it is to go up in front of that podium and just prop up Lincoln Riley without subtly taking a shot at Marcus Freeman?
You know what? You know what the biggest thing to me is Lincoln Riley is Kyle Shanahan of college football. Just hyped beyond belief. Hasn't won shit ever. Been to a Super Bowl. At least Kyle Shanahan's been to the big game, but he's crapola down his leg.
Yep.
Lincoln Riley hasn't even smelled it. And the last time they got close, you couldn't beat Kyle Whittingham and a bunch of no-name Utah players. They ran through your ass like shit through a tin horn. And what Willie Fritz do to you at Tulane? You couldn't name one player on that Tulane team. But everybody knows who Caleb Williams is. Greatest ever, right?
Yeah. Well, then also Joseph here has, I think, one of the best articulated arguments. Bowden worked with Freeman for years, has been at USC for a month. Now Lincoln Riley is the best recruiter he's ever seen. Bowden is a punk. Riley has never been that good. Yeah, I mean, Riley, he did well recruiting at Oklahoma, specifically quarterbacks that were transfers most of the time. But, he recruited Caleb Williams, who was a really good quarterback against terrible teams. But, I mean, not been great. This one right here, wait until the real recruiting season starts and USC ends up at 12. Yeah, number 1, Sid brings up, number 1 in March. Congrats. Yeah, this is what we went through last year with Notre Dame. I don't know if you go back a year ago, probably right around now, you'll see the shows that Duke and I did where I said, it's cool to be number 1 right now. It means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. The big boys haven't even really started recruiting yet. Like, SEC schools are casually talking to the girl they're going to fuck come signing day. Like, you're talking to the hottest girl in the bar right now, and they're just sitting back waiting for last call. And when last call comes, they're going to take her home. So, just so you know.
I just, when it comes to the guys getting up on the podium and throwing I would say it's a jab at, all right, later, Carter, but
Deuces, guys, I gotta go.
All right, sounds good, man. But when you say something that's somebody that gave you your start, I think it's disrespectful.
I think it's very disrespectful. I mean, just shut your mouth, be gracious, and move on.
And
There's no need for this. It's all about attention-seeking behavior, dude. It's all to try to be, put your chest out there and see, hey, look at me, look where I'm at now. Screw you. What if everything backfires for him at USC?
I don't know what it's gonna take, but I mean, Lincoln Riley's from Southeast Oklahoma or something. He's out in LA, and this is all public record. Coach JB said this from the beginning after they hired him. He said he's a fraud. And those aren't my words, those are coach's words. And if anybody would know anything about the whole high school breakdown, JB knows, every coach up and down the coast, and they say they're locked out of the facility when it was open reign for Pete Carroll. So I don't know. I think that, I don't know how you couldn't recruit well at USC. You have every advantage possible. You have big time boosters, and I mean, I get it. The Coliseum's not the greatest stadium in the world, but when you win, LA loves a winner. It's a pro sports town. If you win, you're in, and he ain't winning. And you could say, well, they can't fire him in the buyout, whatever, but there's only so much I think that they can put up with at USC. I mean, they fired Lane Kiffin. I have my opinion on Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin's great. He got fired on the tarmac because he lost to Oregon State. That's fact. They got rid of Steve Sarkisian for some other things, but
look what Steve's been doing at Texas.
Steve Sarkisian's one of the probably top 3.
Texas was in the bottom of the barrel in the Big 12, and they were in the playoffs this year. In the semis. I mean, they've been in the semis the last 2 years since he's. When did he come to Texas? Was it 2023, 22?
I think 21 or 22, somewhere in there after.
Okay.
I mean, Texas had the run of coaches after them and Mac Brown parted ways, in which. Oh, what's up, Siski? What it is, man? It's wild to me because Texas hired really, I thought, decent candidates at the time. They hired, and I get why Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma to go to USC, because it was going to be really hard to replace. It was going to be really hard to replace Bob Stoops, and they're finding that out. But I mean, if you look at Oklahoma, they fired Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel went to college football playoff. And they lost Jeff Lebby to Mississippi State, which, I think that Lebby took the Mississippi State job, but I think he's going to do a really good job. I'm pulling for Jeff Lebby. But if I was Lincoln Riley, I wouldn't have taken a lot of people said that he ran from Oklahoma because they were going to the SEC. Is that the fact? Who knows? Now you're in the Big Ten. And the majority of your games, you got to travel across the country, which puts you at a disadvantage.
Huge disadvantages, because they're on a 3-hour time difference versus most of the teams in the Big Ten.
But I think if I'm, the player personnel guy, Chad Bowden, I don't think I'd take a shot at Marcus Freeman because he's just a guy that just got done playing in the national championship.
Exactly.
And it's one of those things that it's not a good look for you as a whole. I mean, Carter, feels the same way. It would be like me going to work for Carter in his set field. He sets me up, gets me going to where I can, go to another company, and then I say, oh well, Carter kind of sucked. It's not fair to him.
Yeah.
He gave me my start.
Yeah.
Or it would be like you leaving the podcast and going to a different podcast and said that we sucked. I mean, we're gonna feel some type of way about that.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
And in my opinion, in the coaching profession, you don't burn bridges.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
And Joseph here's got it. And that's everything that I've ever heard. That's everything that I've ever heard. And not to mention, he was also illegally recruiting Caleb Williams during the vid because he was posting on his story on his timeline. That's I believe Chris Drew's got that video. So Chris Drew from Minnesota Sports, I believe, has that. So that is a fact. You have to understand all fans have sour grapes. I mean, I get sour grapes, but I mean, Tony Alford went from Ohio State to Michigan and didn't say a peep. That's all I'm saying. I don't know why you would take a shot at your former employer. Joe Long, Lincoln left Oklahoma as quick as almost Brian Kelly left ND. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a very, very interesting. It's an interesting endeavor, in my opinion, on the Lincoln Riley stuff. But I think if he didn't have a big buyout protecting him, he would be gone. That's
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so.
So that's that in a nutshell. One last thing, Peyton Hudson, a 2027 quarterback, is set to make his visit. He will visit on 4/4/25. So that is today. He had a visit today. So that is where we're at.
Yeah, it's April 4th.
So, but with that, Rich, do you got anything else pressing that you want to get out there for the people, even though we had technical difficulties in the beginning? You got anything you want to get out there?
No, I got nothing. No. Did Ohio State cancel their spring game? Yes. I saw something today.
Well, it's going to be a fan celebration, whatever that means.
Yeah, I'm not going to that.
I don't think I'm going to that either. One last thing. Dave's here. That's a good one, man. One last thing I want to throw it out there. This is for all the Ohio State fans. We don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. And the beat's going to ask Ryan Day every day who his starting quarterback is. You're not going to know who the starting quarterback is until they break the huddle against Texas. Or he might name one the week of the game like he always has.
Which I'm fine with.
I think that's more than fair.
Because you don't want somebody coming and poaching one of your quarterbacks.
It's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be saying myself. That's who I just think it's going to be.
I don't know. Well, I want to see how spring ball goes and fall camp goes to name a starter. So we shall see.
I think that it's one of those things that it is what it is. You're gonna have to do that. The recruiting director at Notre Dame, I believe, is the guy from the Lions that they hired. He's going to be the head of player personnel. I think they called it a different job title to probably pay him more.
Yeah.
So I think that, saying it's going to be in any way, it won't be until after the last scrimmage until he names one. So, So that's where we're at, kind of in a nutshell. But anything else pressing, Rich?
Nope, we got nothing else, Duke.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're at. I'm just checking to see if we missed any big time news. Nope. College hoops March Madness is here. It's going to be here soon. So We might do a bracket challenge. Have to talk to Carter with that. Comment on the video if you would like to hop in on the bracket challenge in the show comments. Talk to Carter about that and see if we can maybe get that done. But yeah, I got nothing else. So with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button if you made it this far. If you like college football, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, send this to your group chat. Try to help us grow this thing, because if we get to that 500, we might be having a different type of show, and we might be having 2 shows a day. So with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button. Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.